They have done it again, guys. We got another phenomenal episode of House of Dragon. The main takeaway was diplomacy is easy. All you need is a dragon. My name is Angela. I'm Angie the Bookaholic. As the channel name suggests, I'm a bookaholic, and if you are a bookaholic like me, please subscribe to my channel. In this channel, I talk about books mainly and also things related to books like movies and TV adaptations. Today, we are going to talk about the second episode of season 1 of The House of Dragon. Without further ado, let's get into it. Last week, my biggest complaint with the episode, I think the only complaint with the episode, was the absence of a title song or the title track. And my prayers were answered this week with an amazing title intro scene that we got. And surprisingly or unsurprisingly, they decided to keep the same theme song, which is fine because then now I can sing along because I already know the tune, and actually we all can sing along, right? The miniature of Westeros, which was there in Game of Thrones intro, was replaced by the miniature of the old Valyrian freehold, which we get to glimpse when Alicent and King Viserys are, talking, and Viserys is explaining about the old Valyria to Alicent, right? So that was a great intro. There are many videos, in fact, breaking down the intro, scene, what each sigil stands for, and the flow of the blood and all that. I'm not an expert in explaining all that. Let's just go and watch all those breakdown videos. They are excellent. I learned a lot from those videos. I will link one of them in the description below so you can go and check it out. So that was a great intro, and I'm happy that they retained the old theme song of Game of Thrones. The first scene we see is of Crabfeeder doing his thing, right? Feeding people to the crabs. That was really a gruesome scene to digest. That's the first scene that you get to see before you even have the time to avert your eyes from the grotesque scene. It's kind of interesting to see what they decided to start with. Basically, this is where the season is headed, maybe in some way or the other. This Crabfeeder, whose real name is Craigas Drehar, he is a very prominent figure in the episodes to come and the rest of the season. I think that's what I understand, by giving him the starting scene. I don't know what's happening with his skin because it looks like kind of grayscale. Maybe it is grayscale. He's infected by it. And also, I'm really curious to find out why he is doing the things that he is doing, what is driving him, what kind of vengeance he has, and basically his backstory. That will be interesting to find out. Definitely there is a backstory, and I'm waiting for that. And talking about that, I'm really happy that I did not continue reading the book because I have the book here, as you can see, Fire and Blood. I finished around 50 pages and then I couldn't continue because I had other commitments, other books to read and all that. And by then the show had started, so I decided to park that aside, and I'm happy I did it because now I can speculate along with the viewers who haven't read the book. And so this is fun, actually, right? To keep guessing what's going to happen, what each character are going to do. And that's what I love about watching shows, especially shows like this. So I'm really glad that I didn't continue with reading the book, but I will definitely read it once season 1 is done. I think I might. A great scene that I liked is the scene between Rhaenys, the queen that never was, and Rhaenyra. That was an epic scene where they discuss, or at least the makers made use of, addressing this glaring patriarchal society. Even though she is the heir, she is still bearing the cup. It wouldn't happen to a male heir. Nobody would expect a male heir to continue as a cup bearer, but just because she's a female, she's still bearing the cup during the small council. So that whole conversation where Rhaenys from experience is trying to make Rhaenyra understand that tradition is this way, and then Rhaenyra being so optimistic, and she's this action-oriented woman who wants to make a change, who wants to change history, get to see a glimpse of that ambitious zeal within Rhaenyra. So that was a great scene, and somehow that scene where Rhaenyra says that these people bend the knee in front of me gave me total Daenerys vibes. This super strong leader, and I just can't wait to see more of Rhaenyra going forward. The only sad part is they're going to change the actress, but I have so much faith in the makers that they would have done the casting well enough. So if you don't know, they are going to change the actress because the whole season has a lot of time jumps, as far as I understand. So because of these time jumps, the actors or these characters age a lot, right? So the actors had to be changed, especially for Rhaenyra. So we get a total new character somewhere down the lane in the season. So I'm looking forward to that also. Let's see who the makers have chosen. I know the name of the actor, but yeah, because I don't know much of her work, there's no point in me talking about her now. But so far, Millie Alcock has done such an amazing job portraying Rhaenyra. I spoke about subtle diplomacy, and that's what I see in Otto Hightower. He strongly gives me this Little Finger Peter Baelish vibe. He totally gives me the creeps because he is manipulative. He knows how to steer the king in the direction he wants the king to take, and that's not good. And that's where I feel that King Viserys comes across as a very weak king. I mean, in the books, I think it's established that he is known for that, known for being this weak king, being driven by his heart. And we'll talk about King Viserys later in this video. But staying with Otto Hightower for now, I think he is extremely manipulative. He knows what to speak, what to say, and what to be left unsaid. Let's just say he's playing the game very well and he's winning it. Coming to King Viserys is definitely a king who is he's a very good person as such. That's what I have understood. He is a person who doesn't want conflicts or war. He wants to maintain the peace that has been maintained during his father's time, because his father's time was a prosperous time for the kingdom. So he wants to maintain that. So that's why he doesn't want to pick any fight, especially with the free cities. He is very thoughtful in that way, but at the same time, because he is so good and he decides to follow his heart rather than the welfare of the realm, strengthening the realm, he decides to marry Alicent instead of Lena and rejects this proposal from Corlys and Rhaenys. He, I think, will inevitably caused the beginning of the Targaryen civil war, which was a very short-sighted move from the king's side. He did not see all this unfold because the alliance with Alicent is not adding anything to the future of the realm or the welfare of the realm, which is the priority of a king in Westeros, right? That is what is expected out of a king, that he does not make selfish choices, but the choices that he make should benefit the kingdom. And that's not happening with this alliance with the Alicent Hightower. Also, this festering wound that is refusing to go away, refusing to heal, is also kind of bothering me, because he will definitely die, and that's when this whole civil war will kickstart, I think, where both Daemon and Rhaenyra are fighting for the Iron Throne. I'm thankful that there were no jousts this time, because that was a pretty brutal, middle-agey kind of scene. What made my jaw drop literally in this episode is that scene where we get to see Lena Hightower for the first time. I was like, that's a kid, she's a baby, and she's supposed to act beyond her age and offer herself to the king. I know, it is set in a different time where, early marriages was common for men and women, and, women used to be really, really, really young when getting married, but still that was a very icky scene for me to watch. I was like, okay, fine. Now I'm somehow okay with him marrying Alicent because she's at least 15 years old, but this one was like, what, 10 years or 12 years old or something. So that was clearly, yeah, it really bothered me a lot. But then it's reflective of the time that it is set in, right? That was a very uncomfortable scene for me to watch, that whole courtship scene. Coming to my least favorite character in the entire show, Alicent Hightower. I don't know. I don't trust her. I think she is also scheming, but very subtle. She was okay betraying her best friend, not giving her even a heads up. I definitely see it as a betrayal, and she could have at least hinted to Rhaenyra that she's talking to her dad. Now, Rhaenyra's best friend is becoming kind of her mom, like stepmom. This event is what will kickstart this whole hostility between Alicent and Rhaenyra. So, my favorite character, Daemon Targaryen, played by the incredible Matt Smith. He is this person who has loyalty towards his bloodline and Targaryen. He loves his family. You get to see him defending the king in front of Lord Collis towards the end of the episode, where he says, hey, I can talk anything about king, but you cannot. Like, he's my brother, I can talk about him, but not you. So he's kind of very protective about both Rhaenyra and King Viserys, but he's doing the things he is because mainly, I think, sometimes to just grab attention, and secondly, he really genuinely thinks that King Viserys is not fit to be a king, which is kind of true because he is weak, because his inability to make a very strategic decision or strategic alliance and following his heart instead is what will set stage for the coming civil war between the Targaryens. He doesn't have the foresight to make this decision, a tactful decision for the kingdom, for the welfare of the kingdom. And definitely Daemon realizes that. He knows that his king is not ruthless enough to make sometimes the decisions that are expected out of a king. A good man doesn't make a good king. There's a saying, right? I've heard somewhere that Daemon Targaryen is George R.R. Martin's favorite character in the entire world, right? The Song of Ice and Fire world. What is happening between Rhaenyra and Daemon? I see some kind of weird vibes between them. Now, considering that Targaryens are incestuous, they have this history of, brothers marrying sisters. So I think that there is something that's going to happen between Rhaenyra and Daemon. This is complete speculation from my side, but I think something is going to happen and it will be interesting. And I'm kind of surprised that this being the story of Targaryen house, there is no incest yet, because Targaryens are notoriously known for having incestuous marriages. Daemon is a very complex character, and I love complex characters, when it's a gray shade. So far we had two dragons, which is Caraxes or Syraxis and Syrax, right? I'm speculating that we will get to see at least one more dragon, which is Vhagar, and he is the biggest dragon alive after Balerion. Balerion died, and so now it is Vhagar, and we get to see or hear Lena so interested in Vhagar now, because Lena is the daughter of Lord Collis and Rhaenys. I'm expecting that she will also become a dragon rider, so that will be interesting to see, and what she will do with her dragon riding power. It costs a lot of money to bring all these dragons to life, but I mean, none of us would say no to more dragons, right? That was a quick look back at episode 2 of House of Dragon season 1. The show is getting better and better, and how it is meeting the expectations and sometimes surpassing the expectations. I'm looking forward to episode 3. I cannot wait for next Monday morning, which is when it is telecasted here. And what I will be doing for the rest of the week is just going through all the videos talking about this episode and breaking it down and identifying the Easter eggs and all that fun stuff. And that's what I like about these shows, which are released and doled out every one episode per week, rather than how Netflix does it. You have this 20 episode in one go and then you binge watch it. Sometimes you lose all the fun when you're binge watching it. You don't discuss it much with others, maybe towards the end. But I like this waiting time as well. I enjoy it. I devour these discussion videos that comes in between the two episodes. So that's also fun. And yeah, sometimes I like binge watching, but I think for shows like this I like it when it is one episode per week. So that was my thought about episode number 2. What were your thoughts? Please let me know in the comment section. I will be back soon with another video. Before you know it, this is Angie signing off. Bye bye.